Gundam has released more than 50 works ever since the first TV anime series that was broadcast in 1979. For more than 40 years, Gundam has been loved by many people around the world. Among those people, I believe there are a few that have zero knowledge of Gundam, but mention, "I've always wanted to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet," or "I want to learn some of the basics of Gundam." So this time, let's unravel the history of Gundam, focusing on the key word universal century, which cannot be excluded when talking about the world of Gundam. Learning Gundam's history from scratch. Universal century. First of all, what is universal century? Universal century is the name of a new era which marks the beginning of an era when humankind expanded their place of life into space. The universal century, which is known as a must-watch series, presents several different intertwining stories that happened during the same time period. Therefore, every single conflict, every single action, and every single hero that appears will make an impact on the works that will be created later, which makes it a grand historical masterpiece. Half a century has passed since the world entered the new era, UC 0079. The Space City Side 3, which is the farthest from Earth, has challenged the Earth Federation government to a war of independence by calling itself the Principality of Zeon. This is what is commonly referred to as the 1-Year War. The Principality of Zeon mass-produces its own mobile suit, MS-06 Zaku, and overruns the Earth Federation forces and took the lead. Gundam was developed by the Earth Federation forces to counter Zaku's. With the introduction of the new mobile suit, the Earth Federation forces, which were in a catastrophic state, came back to life and the war situation improved. Mobile suits have played an important role in war ever since. The story of the 1-Year War focuses on Amuro Ray, who is a teenage pilot from the EFF side, and Char as Nabal, an ace pilot from Zeon's side. Amuro, who was a civilian at the time of appearance, gets in the mobile suit RX-78-2 Gundam by accident. With the manual in his hand, he tried desperately to operate the Gundam and managed to escape from a crisis. Much against his will, he became a soldier and was embroiled in tough battles. Char, on the other hand, is an elite soldier of the Principality of Zeon, who is feared by the Earth Federation troops under the nickname of Red Comet. However, the reason Char fights in the Principality of Zeon is not for the independence of the Principality of Zeon, but for revenge on the Zabi family, who plays a main role in Zeon. While violently colliding in the war, Amuro and Char sometimes felt sympathy for each other and saw the value of each other. The friction between them developed into a lifelong rivalry. At the end of their battle, Amuro and Char's abilities as a new type awaken, which have given them non-mortal intuition and insight. The two then started an intense battle that no human being is capable of. The relationship between them didn't end with the 1-Year War. Their paths cross again and again in many other works. Also, this was not talked about in the work, but the Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, which reveals Char's background and the reason for revenge on the Zabi family, is a must-see when talking about Char. Behind the 1-Year War, there are many works that capture people devastated by the war. Appointed as the 8th MS platoon leader of EFF Southeast Asian Front, Mobile Suit Gundam, the 8th MS team, is a story that draws a deeply woven human pattern by new officers. Mobile Suit Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket illustrates Al, the schoolboy protagonist, Zeon soldier Bernie, and the cruelty of the war they have faced while fighting over an EFF new type specific Gundam, NT-1 Alex. Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt has captured incidents that happen in the Thunderbolt sector. Through these different perspectives, you can gain an in-depth insight about stories behind the war. After the end of the one-year war, former Lieutenant General of the Zeon Army, Aigil Delaz, gathered the remnants of Zeon and forms the Delaz fleet. Universal Century 0083. Former Zeon Major Annabelle Gato raids a warship with the Gundam GP-02, which was taken from the EFF, and declares the armistice as unjust. He declares war against the Earth Federation government. This incident is known as the Delaz conflict. In this conflict, it is Ko Uraki who rides the Gundam of the EFF. As a test pilot at the time of appearance, he was in a battle with Major Annabelle Gato, who was feared as the Nightmare of Solomon. Ko tries to prevent a colony from falling on Earth. Seven years had passed since the end of the one-year war. What happened in the Universal Century 0087 was the Gryps War. Here, the story depicts a conflict between an elite group called Titans, which supported Earth supremacy and suppressed spacenoids, and a group under the EFF called Eugo, which counters the Titans' actions. In the endgame, with an asteroid-based Axis built by the remnants of Zeon joining in, it turned into a three-cornered battle while the chaotic situation reached its peak. Known as Second Amuro, Camille Bidan was the one that became the pilot of the RX-178 Gundam Mark II and the MSZ-006 Zeta Gundam. He belonged to Eugo, and Camille was the most powerful new type ever known. By changing his name to Quattro Bagina, Char Aznable, a key figure during the one-year war, joined Eugo. Meanwhile, Amuro, who became a hero of the one-year war, was placed under house arrest by the EFF leadership because they were afraid of the power of the new type. He later joined Eugo to fight against Titans. Camille struggles to destroy the Titans, while his companions die one after another in the war and wear down their spirits. After the Gryps War, Haman Karn, who leads Axis, declares the revival of Neo Zeon and declared war on the Earth Federation government. The first Neo Zeon War has begun. While working as a junk dealer with his friends and wanting to make a profit, Judo Ashita got into the Zeta Gundam and tried to steal it, which has led him to join Eugo, where he became Double Zeta Gundam's pilot and joined the war to fight against Neo Zeon. The war started to reach its end due to the success of Judo, who suddenly emerged as a Gundam pilot like Amuro and Camille, and also due to the Neo Zeon's internal rifts. Universal Century 0093, 4 years after the first Neo Zeon War. Char Aznable leads the new Neo Zeon army and develops Sazabi, a mobile suit equipped with the new technology Psycho Frame. He himself became the general commander and challenged the Earth Federation government once again. Amuro, who has served on Londo Bell, an EFF affiliate organization, has tried to stand up against Char's ambition. New Gundam, a mobile suit that Amuro helped develop, is also equipped with Psycho Frame. Furthermore, it was developed exclusively for New Gundam, with reference to the wireless all-range weapon Funnel that has appeared in the first Neo Zeon War. Finn Funnel has succeeded in having overwhelming firepower. To end the war, Char initiated an operation to let Axis, the asteroid base, fall on the Earth's surface. With the Earth's fate at risk, the battle between the two rivals marks an end here. The Laplace box has the possibility to overthrow the Earth Federation government. The Vis Foundation, which has kept it a secret for nearly 100 years, has tried to transfer it to the Sleeve, the remnants of the Neo Zeon army, which led to an armed conflict involving the EFF Londo Bell. The main focus of this war is Bonager Lynx, who is a young man that lives in an industrial space colony. Also, a mystery girl who identified herself as Audrey Byrne that has tried to stop Laplace's box from being transacted by herself. Bonager, who is only a college student, encounters a pure white mobile suit, Unicorn Gundam. It has turned him into a pilot and led him to the battlegrounds. Londo Bell and Full Frontal, an ace pilot of the Sleeves who is also known as the Second Coming of Char, challenge Unicorn Gundam in a battle for Laplace's box. What on earth is Laplace's box, and what's hidden behind the secret of 100 years of Universal Century? 1 year after the Laplace incident, in Mobile Suit Gundam narrative, which depicts Phoenix hunting that occurs with the appearance of the new Unicorn Gundam, the impact of the Laplace incident is being mentioned. "12 years have passed since Char's rebellion. As the inhumane policy human hunting is being carried out, such as forcibly taking civilians into space, a movement to assassinate such high-ranking federal officials has begun. The group responsible for these assassinations was Mafty, an anti-EFF group. Its leader was Mafty Navu Aaron, the successor of Amuro and Char Aznable's Will. Mafty was actually Hathaway Noah, the son of EFF Army Colonel Bright Noah, Amuro-Ray's commander in the 1-Year War, a man who led new type heroes such as Camille and Judo. Determined to forge the path that he believed in, Hathaway's fate changes with the encounter between Colonel Kenneth Slegg and the mysterious beautiful girl Gigi Andalusia. The uproar caused by armed groups trying to establish a country, Cosmo Babylonia, a nation with a super elitist mindset, is written in Mobile Suit Gundam F91, and that will lead to the big war that will then occur later on. One and a half centuries have passed since humankind started to live in space, and the dominance of the Earth Federation government has weakened and was slowly becoming a dead letter. The Zanskare Empire, which seized control of almost all of the Side 2 colonies, has declared independence from the Earth Federation government and has launched military invasions. After encountering the battle between the Empire and the resistance organization Ligue Militaire, Uso Iwin becomes the pilot of the Victory Gundam, with the desire to protect the people around him. Uso grows up during an absurd war. And how will this war end? We have looked back at the history of Gundam, focusing on various wars that have occurred since the birth of the Universal Century. Yet this time, I have only introduced the facts about the history of Universal Century. The world of Gundam is full of fascinating concepts, technologies, characters, and dialogue that are almost impossible to fully elaborate on. And there have been many discussions that yearn to uncover explanations and theories behind them around the world. What exactly is a new humankind, new type? What's the secret behind Anaheim Electronics? Who is Bright Noah? who has made impacts on many Gundam works. Also, Cyber new types, Psycom, and the Zabi family. So, how about a trip to Gundam's world?